Yo, hello, hey, what's up everybody? How you doing? It's Friday, 5 o'clock, March 21st. We are back on the Kingfisher here. So we're having some issue getting it to turn over. Felt like it was bogged down. We're thinking the starter might be the issue. Kind of weird. The starter that we bought, we put on right when we got the boat. Now, given we've had this boat for quite some time, unfortunately, we just had a lot of other shit going on in life, so I haven't been able to work on it. But we put a new starter on when we first got it, so it hasn't been used very much. But these things sit. I mean, you can tell this is from Amazon. Doesn't look not great quality, decent, mediocre quality. So I would not be surprised if it went out. Luckily, this one was used for like 13 bucks on Amazon. So hopefully it works. We're gonna try to put it on and get this motor fired up. For reference, this is the old one. Just want to make sure they look about the same, and look at them like this. They definitely are the same one. So we did get the same one. I mean, as you can tell, this one looks brand new, which is unfortunate, but again, cheap Chinese product, so you can't really expect much of it. We'll set this guy back in here. Alright, so we got that hooked up. Super easy job. Just a pointer. There's a lot of these boats out there that these people are like, man, this boat don't run. I can't get it to turn over. I can't get it to start. I don't know why they all got a country accent like that, but the majority of them do. But man, I'm ready to just get rid of this boat. I can't get her to crank up. Now I'll show you this. Point being, it's usually a very simple fix of you can get a starter off Amazon for, literally I got that one for 13 bucks. So if you're trying to DIY it, that's a good tip. So that's it. Super easy. We did put a new, that's a fuel pump on there. Put a new fuel pump. I think we rebuilt the carbs on this one. I can't remember. I know Justin re-spray painted that cowling. He did a good job. It looks really good. Just an update on the carpet. It's holding up great. He's coming over with the latches that we're going to put on and the hinges. So this one, we did replace this too. So this motor, there's a reason why they didn't make them for very long. I think they made them for 3 years. This is a hydroelectric motor. So basically what that means is it's got like an electric shift in there, and it needs to electrically shift between neutral, reverse, and forward, which generally you just would shift it on the throttle controller handle. But and you go forward, obviously forward, neutral's neutral, reverses to the back. I don't know why they did this. Honestly, it's stupid. I still don't understand the benefit of it. It's something to do with, like, if your motor shits the bed, you can turn the key, and I guess the starter rotates the flywheel, which in turn rotates the prop, which can get you back to the shore. But I guarantee you this $13 starter off Amazon is gonna melt before you get remotely anywhere close to the shore. So I don't know, if somebody knows, put it in the comments of what the hell these hydroelectric motors were meant to do, because I can't seem to find an answer for that. But anyways, we're gonna hook up. We got our gas tank. We're gonna go get our water hose, go grab our muffs, hook it up, turn it over, and see what happens. All right, got our gas tank hooked up. This little piece is broken, so put her in there. Works just fine. Got everything hooked up here. Got our muss hooked up. Let's go ahead and crank it on. Oh yeah. We've got some troubleshooting to do with this little toggle switch that we hooked up, because this is what I was telling you about, whether it's like forward, neutral, reverse, the electric part of it. So I'm gonna mess with it, see if we can get this thing to fire up. Issue, go figure. That's what we thought. So that's a step in the right direction. The problem is this is not changing the gears like we need it to. There's something going on in this gearbox. There's a little roller in there that is basically, it engages, it gets 12 volts, it knows it's in forward, you turn it off, neutral, and both wires with power is reverse or something of that sort. And the problem is something's not communicating right in there. So we're gonna probably take this thing apart. At least we got it fired up. That's a huge win. So the starter's good. New starter on there works. It's firing up. Now we're just gonna work on figuring out how to get it to shift correctly. Tell us what you've studied, Justin.
Just how shitty these motors are.
Yeah, I was telling him a little bit about these motors, and like I said, Justin can concur that there's a reason why they weren't around for very long.
4 years.
4 whopping years is what it was.
So before this, it was an electric shift.
There you go.
And now once 1968, they went to hydroelectric, and it's essentially 2 solenoids in the lower gear unit, and it's pressured by oil. Little passages that allow the gears to change from forward, reverse, neutral, but
there you go.
It's just a horrible situation there.
Sure thing. Screw that on there and get that nice and snug.
Never buy one of these again.
Ever. Oh,
if I'm selling it to you, buy it. But
if we're not selling it to you, don't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily for the next guy, the beautiful part about it is
we figured it out.
We figured everything out. We've got it running.
Yeah, and we can at
but
least inform him.
It's taken 2 minds studying for 4 years on trying to figure this friggin' thing out.
There's not a lot of info on it.
Sure ain't. Go ahead and see if we have any power. Oh yeah, there we go. Forward. That was reverse.
That was reverse.
Reverse is all the way back.
So no power.
No power
is forward.
Forward.
Safety thing.
Safety.
Neutral all the way back is reverse. Perfect.
There you go.
But I found out. So it's not exactly if the motor fails, you're able to get to shore.
Mm-hmm.
It's if the switch inside fails.
Oh,
so
that's
it's like,
right.
why design something that if it
that's
just
right.
make it mechanical?
Now it's all it's coming back to me. This was 4 years ago
so
that
our,
we were studying
our thought
this.
process was that if the motor dies, it's always in forward gear, and you can at least turn the key and it'll spin the prop to get you to shore.
Right.
That's not it. It's not in case the motor dies. It's in case the switch inside here goes bad, that shifts everything. If that fails, the electrical side of it, you're at least stuck in forward gear, and you can crank the motor up and just trot to
That
shore.
makes much more sense.
Yeah.
Because I was telling them about it, and I was like, there's no fucking way it wants you to limp back using the starter to get home.
No.
That doesn't make sense. That makes a ton more sense. So, yeah. So if the switch does fail, you're in forward gear, and then you can still go forward back to where you need to go. You're going to have trouble if you got to reverse.
And
but
here's our 2 wires. They come up from the leg. It's a blue wire and a green wire.
Yep.
Basically, I think green is neutral.
Yeah.
No power.
No
is
power.
Forward, and both wires
Power to
together
both of them
is reverse.
Reverse.
Yeah.
That's it.
So
it's working. So that was our issue. These wires were shoved up under there from us cleaning the boat, and it'd been sitting for 4 years. So
now what I am curious about is, so you can see this is where I spliced on, and that's going to the switch. But I'm curious, here's one, and here's two. So I'm willing to bet these were, that was probably blue and, yeah, that is blue and green.
Yeah, 100%.
So those are our two wires. They go into your ignition plug connector there.
That goes up to
and goes in
through, goes up to the
so what we want to know that we
shifter.
could never figure out before is where the shifter switch was.
Right.
It's actually in the back side of here, behind that little housing that the roller pin that guides the throttle and all that on.
Right. So ideally we want to take this apart
and try to fix it.
We want to try to fix it so you don't have to have a button to shift from which I mean, honestly,
what we could do,
it's not too bad.
We could stick that switch right here. And what I like is that the handle to release this is up here instead of on bottom, so your fingers aren't bumping it.
Right.
So you can have your hand up here, push it, and if you need to, click it, and it's just right there. So worst case scenario, we move this to here, and we'll just drill a little hole in the side of that, and there's a void big enough for wires to go in. But that's not a bad alternative there.
No, it's not.
Just slap it with your finger. But yeah.
Well, she's up and running. The starter was the problem, one of our problems. We figured out the other problem, which is good. We've got this bad boy carpeted. Give it another nice little clean. Put some latches on it. Put some hinges on it. Then we're gonna do
clear coat.
Yeah, we're gonna sand the heck out of this.
Clear coat it real
Probably
good.
not these, but we're gonna do all this. Clear coat it.
Buff it, polish it.
Buff it, polish it, and if you guys want to buy it, it's gonna be on the market. We're gonna start it off at about $4,500.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes.
And we'll see where she goes from there.
I want to see what's inside here, really,
yeah.
dude.
So this is
I'm gonna
mechanism here. We're about to test it. This is what we've been giving us trouble. This little guy right here.
It's our switch and
this
assembly.
Is neutral power to the green one. Forward should be no power, so in case you get stuck, you can always go forward, and then reverse will be power to both of these.
Look at that thing.
Yeah,
dude.
look at that. That thing's ancient.
I'm wondering. I'm not gonna pull that off yet. I think we just test here.
Yeah.
And see.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't mess with
Yeah,
any
we'll
of that.
see if when this works, if we're getting.
Yeah,
so we'll hook up power to this, and then we'll test these wires.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me grab.
Okay, just to recap, because I'm going to be putting this video on YouTube, and I'll make like a special little segment for these hydroelectrics, because we have found that there is absolutely no content on how these things work.
Zero.
So we're going to recap on what we're doing here so you guys can understand. Right now we're testing, right? So this is the diode that goes inside here like this, okay? The switch, sorry. It's the switch. These are the diodes. This is basically, we're not 100% sure, but we think obviously the only thing that really diode could be is to prevent the current from going back into the motor, into the gearbox. It's coming.
It just allows it to come one way.
Right. Now we're still trying to figure out, we think this is, we'll touch on this later, we think this is the power to it, one of these purple ones, but what we're doing here, if you can tell, so that little slot fits in here, so when the shifter handle moves forward, neutral, reverse, that's what moves this switch, and it changes. So I forget exactly which one's which, Justin.
Well, with it, so right there is neutral.
That's neutral,
which means the green wire should have 12 volts.
Right.
Then if you push it
that
forward,
that pushes that back, which
you
is
should have no
power. That way, to recap, this should be this way and forward, which is no power, which is if this switch fails, you still will be able to drive the boat back to the dock. In forward gear, right. And then this way, reverse, both of those have power. So power to one, power to none, power to both. And what we're doing right now,
we're just gonna get power on the switch.
we're just trying to test that this. We tested the switch is good. We're just trying to make sure that this switch will indeed shift the motor when there's power to each corresponding wire.
Basically, it's your two wires here, and it goes around here, and it's a red and green, or I'm sorry, a blue and green wire, and they go down into the leg, the lower leg, where there's two solenoids that are pressurized by oil passages. So when you send power, it moves that solenoid, and the oil passage can now change gears.
Right. It's almost like a diaphragm, right? Similar. That diaphragm. It's done with oil pressure. Yeah. Sorry, not a diaphragm. There's not a physical diaphragm, but that oil pressure is what changes it. And touch on the gear oil, Justin, with this?
It's got to be Type C.
Type C. So that is very imperative because
no other one will work.
no other one will work. It'll mess up the components
Yep.
of the
It
won't shift correctly, and I think it has something to do with like the conduction of the current in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, science. There's something behind there about it. But so we had this hooked up to this switch because we couldn't for the life of us figure this out, but we've done a ton of research. We figured it out. So this is what shifted for us. Well, we don't want that. We want to be able to, instead of having to use this to shift, we want to be able to just how it should be OEM shifting with this, which is moving this, which is adding or taking power away from that, and that way the motor shifts.
Neutral? Is it at neutral? Neutral.
Yep, reverse, neutral, forward. Yeah, baby. All right, let's do it.
Let me do it again?
Yeah, let's show the prop. So we're gonna show it again. So this is power to one of these wires. We can test
It's
it.
a green wire.
Okay, so power to this green wire. This is in a neutral position. The prop will not move. So when Justin puts it forward,
Throttle it up a little.
yeah, we still got to work on the cam here a little bit.
There you go.
Okay. Okay. Hold on, give it again. The gas isn't on. The gas it doesn't have gas.
Ran out of gas.
Yeah, you need to put gas in these things to get them to work.
Yeah, unfortunately. I was wondering, I was like, this thing's been running great.
Now this thing runs quicker than...
Fired right up with no gas in it.
No gas, sure did. Okay.
Well, there will be no power.
No power. What's up to forward?
Now reverse.
Both wires have power, and we're in reverse. Perfect.
How about that?
Beautiful.
How about that?
So everything works. This is for all you guys out there that might have one of the rare few of these that might still have one of these, or maybe someone that we sell this boat to.
And just so you know, I've looked them up. There's 5 of these on marineengine.com. And they're on sale right now for $350.
Yeah, on sale. So if you get one of these, the motors can be great. I mean, you can see how quickly it fired up.
What normally fails on this is the little roller pin.
Mm-hmm.
In this, like the spring and the roller
Yeah, that's
here.
probably what.
So we thought we were gonna get in here and just try to fix that, but luckily the switch itself worked.
Yeah.
So now all we got to do is just figure out if once we hook power up to here. I think this is the wire it needs to go to.
Yeah, it needs to go to the ignition, and that's what gives it power whenever the key is in the on position.
Yeah.
So
we'll test
that.
power real quick on that to make sure that gives it
we'll
12.
figure that out.